Hi, my name is Nikki Tamburino, and this is Maybe Running Will Help.
I press the button and the doors go up. Whoa, that money clip us now that new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, 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 whoa.
You had the cure for cancer right now. Don't tell me you're not going to go on social media and be like, this is what you do. With all of the energy and all the might that you have because you found something that can help other people. So you're gonna put that out into the world, And so
Yeah.
it's like, no, I didn't find the cure for cancer, but maybe running will help.
Our guest today runs a half marathon every day. He's chasing a new world record, but he didn't always live a disciplined life. Trevor Cowley is a successful business entrepreneur turned runner who openly describes his past self as a party boy, and now he's chasing a new high. I can't wait to share this conversation with you. But first, a word from our sponsor, Charm City Run. Charm City Run's Ultra Soul of the City 10K, presented by Kelly Benefits, is back, and it's better than ever before, with a brand new date and a brand new look, but the same soul. April 25th is the day Baltimore runs together. Starting and ending in Harbor Point, the Ultra Soul of the City 10K, presented by Kelly Benefits, features a beautiful course along Baltimore's inner harbor and surrounding communities at the height of spring. Awesome race premiums, an amazing post-race party, drinks, snacks, and a DJ await you once you cross the finish line. Charm City Run is offering friends of the podcast a 10% discount. Just use the code Nikki10 at checkout. That's NICKY, the number 10. Now, let's get to the show. Well, Trevor, welcome to the Maybe Running Will Help podcast. It's such an honor to have you on this show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out and asking. This is the first running podcast that I've done. So I'm actually really excited about it because as we were talking about prior to hopping on, that's really where my heart's at right now. And so this is going to be a fun conversation. And I don't think maybe running will help. We got to get rid of that maybe. And just running will help. I promise. Like happy, sad, mad, frustrated, no matter what. Go take your body for a spin.
I think, one day I was just like having a bad day and I literally just thought to myself, maybe running will help. And I put it on my Instagram page. And then from there, it just turned into like a podcast.
But what I like about it is it's almost formed as like a question.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe running will help. Like question, like,
yeah.
It kind of opens the loop in their mind rather than making a definitive statement that running will help. It's like, hey, maybe just try it. Like it's a lesser of but it's more encouraging,
That's it.
So
You get it. Yeah. Well, I feel like I hit you up at the right time because a lot of the stuff that you do is on the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You have a podcast, you have your real business owners, and I love that you're kind of focusing on a new direction. And I feel really, really fortunate to have hit you at this time. I'm excited.
Yeah, excited too.
Are you in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's so weird. I feel like I contacted one person in Utah and now I'm connected to all the runners in Utah. So it's like kind of like crazy. But I came across you because you're running a half marathon every day to try to get the Guinness Book of World Records. But what's interesting about this is that the needle has continued to move on this record. So can you talk a little bit about how this half marathon a day started and where you are now in this running journey?
That's a big question.
I know.
It might come with a long answer.
It's going to, I'm sure.
Okay. So I'm just preparing you because when I get going, I can get going. So make sure to interrupt me when necessary. So to be quite frank, I had a lot of success in business. And the success that I had in business didn't bring what I thought it would bring. I didn't find the happiness and the joy and the fulfillment that I thought, having access to money or being financially free would give to me. Right. And I committed 12 years of my life. I was a drug addict, got clean from heroin, and literally threw myself into getting extremely focused about one thing, and it was money. Every decision that I made, it was about money, 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 money. Is this going to bring a return? Everything was measured on money, and that was fine because I was on the climb. And so obviously everything that I'm doing has to be centered around that if that's a priority in my life. If I say it's a priority, let me show you through my actions that it's really a priority. I submitted and committed for 12 years and gave business everything that I had because I was relying on the hope that money was going to bring the fulfillment and the joy that I was looking for, and peace and all of the emotions that I think that we chase things to try to find. But most people are chasing the wrong things, and they're not going to find what it is that they're looking for on the other side of, material things or financial things. Like really true peace, true happiness, and true joy is what I found out is just having a deep knowing with self that I'm doing everything that I possibly can to extract my potential, and then I feel at peace with myself.
Hmm.
I feel more certain about the future. My actions and habits are that of an individual that my future is going to be brighter than my past or my current situation. And that gives you a lot of peace and a lot of certainty. Like you're resting on the work that you're doing rather than resting on a thought of a result down the road. You stop worrying about results down the road when you're really focused in the process of doing something. And I really, really love that. But so I got to a point where I made a couple hundred grand a year, and I was like, hey, well, when I make a half a million, it's got that's the number.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then I made that and it was gonna be a million, and then I made a million, and then I was like 1.5, I made 1.6. And then it got to the point where at $1.6 million in personal income in a year, that's kind of undeniable money to say, okay, well, maybe 2.5 million will
Right.
then that's like it starts getting to the point where it's completely obvious that this thing isn't the thing that's going to bring you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So now it's time to reinvent the wheel or redesign your life, so to speak. Right. And so here I am, 36 years old, submitted to business, did everything that I wanted to do, saw the success that I was hoping for and that I grinded for all those years. But I was actually left at a really, really low place. But that was because at least on the climb, there was hope that when I get that I'm gonna get what I'm looking for. But when you get what you think that you're looking for and you don't get the feeling, then the hope is even gone
Right.
and you're just left with yourself, right? And so you're just like, "Okay, did I go about this all wrong?"
Yeah. Scary
And
place to be. Yeah.
yeah, really, and you can call it a midlife crisis if you want, because I do think that everybody will hit those crises. And I'm a big believer in never waste a good crisis, because if you're in a crisis, that's your life telling you you've
Right.
designed it wrong and that you need to make adjustments. That's really what a midlife
Yeah.
crisis is. That version of you served you until this point in your
Yep.
life. You have to recreate so that you can then move forward and
Hmm.
start making progress. And so here I am, 36 years old, um, just at a low spot. And it was June. And my birthday's in July.
Hmm.
Okay. So now I turned 42 in July this year. Right. So it was 5, 6 years ago that this happened. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I need to throw myself a curveball. I need to do something that the old Trevor would never do. And I asked myself, what do I hate doing? The
Real.
first thought.
That's how running happens.
Bruh, it was the first thought. It was like,
What do
it
I
it it didn't
hate?
even take time. It was just like, what do I hate doing? Running. Boom. It's
Wow.
like the brain
Yeah.
answered that question really, really quick.
That's
It didn't
hilarious.
take time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't a runner. Yeah, I lifted weights and I was active and was in decent shape. But at that time also is like I was watching Cameron Haynes and David Goggins, and it's like I would get a feeling when I would watch these guys, but I would always identify as I'm not a runner. That's just not who I am. I don't
Uh,
do that, right? And we got to be really careful about the identity that we place on ourselves, because that will ultimately be a governor or a limitation that you're creating, because usually it's the things that you don't think that you are when you start exploring that, and that's when the world really starts opening up. And so I asked myself that question. My brain immediately said running. And I had 39 days before I turned 37 years old. And so I was like, okay, what do I do? Run like 3.7 miles or something? Like, like I was trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
figure how to
yeah.
incorporate it,
Yeah.
because I was like, I want to do something to celebrate my life on that day and do something that I've never done before and take myself to the brink of what potential I have right now. And so it was like, maybe I ride a bike 37 miles. And I'm like, the
Right.
3.7 miles is too low. Riding a
Right.
bike 37 miles is too easy.
Oh,
And then
no.
I literally was like, if I don't go walk into a room right now and say it, I'm gonna go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow and be like, dude, that thought was crazy. Glad I didn't say nothing. So I literally walked into a room full of my employees, and I'm like, I have to announce it and I have to hold myself accountable to this. And it was 39 days before my birthday. I walk into the room and I say, you guys, I'm going to run 37 miles on my 37th birthday. Here's homeboy in the corner. He turns his head and just starts laughing. He was training to run a marathon for 2 years now. The first year
Oh.
he had like an Achilles issue, so he couldn't do it. Then the next year it was 2020, so COVID shut down the St.
Mhm.
George Marathon, right? And so he's now almost year 2, and he's like, dude, he hasn't even ran a marathon, but he's been training on and off for 2 years for this thing. And I told him, I was like, bro, if you really wanted to get a marathon, you would walk out your front door. You don't need somebody else to put an event on you for you to go run a marathon. You can go run a marathon out your front door the same day that you were supposed to go run the St. George Marathon. That's like no excuse. I said, I'm going to run 37 miles on my birthday. And I went home that day and I ran 3 miles and I was like, what the hell did I just commit to? There's no
Yeah.
possible way, right? And
Right.
so I ended up training 10 times, and at midnight, the second I turned 37, I got out of the camper RV that I rented and had a buddy driving behind me, and I ran for 9 hours and 15 minutes, and it was 37 miles later, like, kissed the ground, and I got in the RV, they're like, "You gonna do it again next year?" I said, "Hell no." Like, you don't ask people that type of question at the end
It
when the suffering is at an all-time high. Ask,
Yeah,
like, a
yeah.
week later when the
Right.
suffering has subsided, and they'll be like, "Hmm,
Too
I think I
soon.
wanna do that again," you know? Um, and that's kinda that's legitimately how my running journey began. It went from nothing to 37 miles in 39 days, and right after that, I stopped running.
Hmm.
I stopped running. And now it's July. Guess what I was doing? I was going around telling everybody, I ran 37 miles on my 37th
Mhm.
birthday. And guess what people would do? You did what?
Right.
I was getting a dopamine hit for
Mhm.
months off
Mhm.
of something that I accomplished in the past.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
by talking about it, I was getting that validation almost from other people or whatever, where I wasn't having to do the work in order to get the validation or
Right.
get that dopamine hit. And so it's now, a few months later, it's September, October. I'm starting to feel myself fall back into that low that I was at prior to committing to run the 37 miles. And I was like, man, it really felt good to have a mountain in front of me, a challenge. Every day that I woke up, it was like, what can I do to make sure that when this day approaches, that I'm the most prepared that I could possibly be in order to see it through and get the 37 miles. And so as I was reflecting on putting a massive goal in front of me in a short period of time, it was like, life was better that way. I woke up with more purpose. I was accomplishing more, and it forced me to prioritize my day better because of the training. It takes some of your time. That relieves you of time that other people have that don't run. So then you're left with less time than the average person, which forces you to get it more focused while you're at work or with your family,
Right.
those type of things. And so now it's like November, December, and I'm like, okay, now what? Like, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start January 1st of 2022 with 75 hard. And I'm like, I felt pretty dang good when I did that
Yes.
last time. I'm like, I always feel good when I build my life around body movement.
Okay,
Every
yeah.
time I'm moving my body, I always feel better. My life feels better. And so I was like, I need to work out in the morning and in the evening so
Uh-huh.
I can start my day feeling good and I can end my day feeling good
Mhm.
because the quality of your life depends on how you feel. If you feel like shit, your life probably is shit,
Shit.
right? And so,
Yeah.
but if we feel good, even if we're not financially rich or whatever, life is just better and brighter. There's more things to look forward to. And so I was like, cool, I'll do 75 hard. But um, as I got to day 60, 70, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it for 100 days. And then at day 100, I was like, I'm feeling incredible right now. I'm not at the low that I was at. Why would I stop doing the very thing that's making me feel best in my body and mind? So
Mhm.
at the moment, I was like, I'm gonna do 2 a days, the reading and the water for a year straight. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just gonna submit to that. At the end of that year, again, I was feeling the best that I had ever had felt ever. And I'm like, why would I walk away from something like this when I felt like I finally have designed my life around being extremely healthy, feeling good in your body and mind, and doing well financially. Um, and at that end of that year mark, I remember Andy Frisella saying at one point, "Show me your last 1,000 days, and I'll show you exactly why you are where you are." So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this thing for 1,000 days straight.
Mhm.
Somebody invented basketball, but Michael Jordan perfected it. Michael Jordan was better at the game than somebody that invented it. I don't think Andy Frisella has ever done 2 a days for 1,000 days straight, but he said it.
Yeah.
He invented that quote or concept or whatever. I wanted to master it. I wanted to be the Michael Jordan of basketball. Somebody else invented, he mastered. Somebody else said it. I wanted to do something that he hasn't even done himself because that would give my brain undeniable proof that I'm different. And that's what I wanted because I would never give myself credit just for financial success. Did I get lucky? Did I this? I'm a poor. I grew up poor. I was on drugs. I didn't do well in school. Like maybe it's just lucky. And so I was like, I'm gonna see if I could do this thing because I just really heard a lot of people talk about surrender to the process, like all this stuff. I'm like, I've never understood truly what that felt like. But when I created a goal that was so big, you have no choice but
Yeah.
to just surrender and focus on the day and just winning the day. And then over time you'll win. But I was almost 2 years into this process and I had to call myself out. I had to say, okay, Trevor, this is now your normal. It's not hard for you anymore.
Hmm.
I had to turn up the dial. The whole reason of this 1,000 day challenge was I wanted it to be difficult.
Okay.
When you do 2 a days every day for over a year and a half, it's like your brain just kind of knows that that's what it looks like. And it's not resisting as much anymore. It's just who you are and what you do. And so I was like, I wonder if I can run 10 miles a day for all of 2024. My mind immediately said, there's no way. And that's when I was like, okay. So if I don't even think I can do it,
Right.
if I pull it off, that is again undeniable proof that I'm capable of more than I even think that I'm capable of. Let's give it a shot. And it was September. I had 4 months runway to get up to 10 miles a day for January 1st of 2022. So I started 5 miles a day for a couple weeks. And I remember a couple weeks in thinking, there's no possible way. If my legs fall the way that they feel right now, there's no possible way I could do double that amount. And what people really don't understand is that's the hardest part right there, is the adaptation process of getting used to the volume in which you're now doing on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis. And so
Mhm.
you kinda go into these lows, your body's affect and all that is, it's not negative, it's just the adaptation process to the toll that you're putting on your body, and it is tough, but something will eventually give. You or your body will adapt.
Right.
That's just how it works, right? And so after like 3 weeks, I bumped it to 5.5, 2 weeks later, 6, 6.5, 7, and I slowly just turned up the dial to the point, where I was at 9 miles a day at the end of the year, and then January 1st, I was like, "Let's go, 10 miles a day every day," as one of my workouts, right? Just supposed to be one of them. I did that for all of 2024. September 28th of 2024 was my 1,000-day mark,
Okay.
but I already committed to do the 10 miles a day for all of 2024, so I was like, "Eh, let's just turn the 1,000 days into 3 years," right? It's just a few more months.
Why not?
So that's what I ended up
Yeah.
doing, but I got to December and was like, "Now what?" I've just done 2-a-days for 3 years. I've ran 10 miles a day for a year, and it's like, what's next for me? Like, do I just run 10 miles a day forever? Is this just kinda the new normal? I don't know. And, I was out on one of my runs, and I call it receiving a download, because the thought came out of nowhere. It's not like I was consciously thinking like, maybe I should do this," or "Maybe I should do this." I asked the question to myself, like, "What's next? What am I gonna do?" Being okay knowing that I didn't have the answer, but I think it's important to ask those questions even if you don't have the answer to it, so that you open the loop in your brain, and sometimes when you're running or, in the shower or whatever, your brain is back there doing work without you even being consciously aware, because the loop is open, it's going to try to find the answer for you. And so I was out on a run, and all of a sudden it was like, Google the world record for the most half marathons, just out of nowhere. And so I stopped my run right there. I Google it. It says 235 days. I'm like, I just did 10 miles a day for a year. I think I could do that.
Right.
And so I went to Guinness Book of World Record, filled out their application on their portal. It says it could take up to 12 weeks to approve. It's the end of the year. I'm like, okay, January, February, that's like mid March, end of March. And so it says, what's your proposed start date? I was like, oh, March 23rd, because that gives me the 12-week window for them to approve it. But they ended up approving it in like 2 or 3 weeks. I was still just like, "Okay, that's fine. I don't wanna totally just go from 10 to 13. This gives me a few months to start seeing some 12s and 13s, getting my body used to that." So I've got a few month runway again to prepare for the extra, 32% increase in volume that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And so, um and then 60 days in, the record got broke to 555 days. And
Were you like, shit?
that was, that was a tough day, because my body was really, I was physically, mentally, exhausted. I was shot. I was like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. The pain was
Mm.
so great. Blisters on my toes, and I would just sit there and stare at my feet before I put my shoes on, staring at the blisters. And my feet are just like, "I don't wanna do this." My mind's like, "I don't wanna do this." And so I had to play games with my mind.
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, so your toes are blistered. It feels like your mind is blistered because it's weak right now. It's trying to talk you out of doing it." And then I said, "Well, what comes after a blister?" "A callus." By default, if I put my shoes on right now and go do this, even if my brain don't wanna do it, that means by default, I am callousing my mind. I'm
Okay.
using my feet as a representation of what my mind is feeling like right now, but I know that I have to go through the blistering process in order to callus it. So that's something that you have to do even mentally. Physically, when you see it, it's easier, but I had to associate something that I could physically see with what was going on in my mind. Your brain plays extreme games when you try to do extreme things and accomplish big goals. And so you have to be there at the forefront of your mind in order to play extreme games back, right? And defend your position or your commitment to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because if it is big, you will have questions. You will have doubts. You will wonder if you're on the right path. You will want to quit and give up. Knowing that going in means that you have to be prepared for a mental battle just as much as you do
Oh,
a
yeah.
physical battle, right?
Right.
Somebody at the gym today is like, "Man, it's probably 30% mental." I'm like, "Bro, that's far more than that."
No
My
way.
body's fine, most days, but mentally it's just like I'm dragging, and it takes 5 or 6 miles for my body to wake up and turn over to start moving again where I feel good, but
Yeah.
And then day 298, the record got broke again to 6:02. So originally, my goal was to do it for a year, and I finally understand what surrendering feels like. And it's the most freeing experience
Yeah.
ever because it's like, I'm not counting down days. Yes, I count. I'm on day 382 or whatever. Yes, I'm logging my days, but I'm not sitting there like a kid at Christmas with the little rings and ripping it off one by one, waiting for an end because I
Yeah.
don't know when the end is.
Right.
I'm surrendering to the process, submitting that this is my lifestyle for however long it takes,
Mm.
whether it is 2 years or whether it is 3 years, it doesn't matter. I have one goal, and the goal is to break the world record. And I had to get to that point mentally when I was sitting there staring at like 5:55 and then 6:02. I'm like, okay, I have to stop making false halfway points because all I'm doing is setting myself up for frustration. I just need to surrender and submit that I am here to break the world record. I'm not here to run a half marathon for X amount of days. The
Uh-huh.
world record is what I want. Whatever that day number looks like, that's just what it is if I want to get X result. And so I'm done with it. I've submitted. This is my lifestyle. It's all good.
This is
And
it. Half
I'll do it.
marathons till the end.
I told my wife, I said, I could do this shit forever. The hard part is the two witnesses every day that have to sign
Oh,
witness
really?
statements.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Um,
that. Wow.
oh, I mean, look, like even here, like I've got my GoPro that I wear on my chest. I've got my body cam that I put on my shorts right there on my hip that I
Uh-huh.
clip on right there.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to record it from two camera
Oh, I
angles.
didn't
You
think
have
about
to
that.
have two witnesses sign witness statements after each run every single day. Obviously, you got to log your distance. So when I get into the office, it takes me 30 minutes of uploading footage,
Mhm.
taking pictures of my witness statements, uploading it, logging my distance, or taking a screenshot of the Garmin, then the satellite picture of the Garmin of exactly the path I went. It's like the documentation of it is such a pain in the ass that it's that part of it that I just don't really care for. It's like Friday night,
The running's easy.
I got one witness Friday at 6 PM. I'm like, "Oh shit, who's it? Who?" And I'm like texting homies, I'm like, "Dude, just come ride the mountain bike with like next to me or whatever. I need you right
Oh
now."
my gosh, that's a lot that you
Yeah,
have to, like, have other people, a part of it every run. That's crazy.
yeah.
What what if you get what if you get sick?
I get sick. I'm a human being.
You're still doing it? You could be, have the stomach have something like the stomach
I've
flu or
thrown up
something.
on the side of the road and just kept going. Like here's the thing. A lot of people say that to me. Well, what happens when you
First
get
thing I
sick?
thought. Yeah.
That's literally the first thing that, like, they're like, "Every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, every
Consecutively?
day."
Like,
And they're
every
like,
day.
"Well, what happens when you get sick?" And I'm like, "Well, when you get sick, you feel like shit, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like,
Right.
"Cool. You're gonna feel like shit at home. You're gonna feel like shit out on the road. No matter where you go, you can't escape feeling like shit if you're sick. So why would I allow something that just because I don't feel the best, no
Yeah.
matter where I'm at, stop me from doing the thing?" Could you imagine in that moment? It would be so comfortable to say, I'm done, I'm going to rest. But 6 months later, that would probably be one of your biggest regrets. And so I usually future project. I ask the 50-year-old version of me
Mm.
whether that's something that I should continue to do or not, because that individual is who I'm trying to make proud. I want that individual to be able to look back on his life with just pride and self respect and confidence, knowing that he laid it all out there, that he extracted whatever potential God put in his body and he left no stone unturned. I feel like that right there is the definition of living a good life. And so, I might be construe, like, what's the right word? I might misconstrue something to the point in a moment where I default to comfort. So I can't trust myself in those moments, but I could
Huh.
trust a 50-year-old version of me because that person's going to be logical because that person's is going to be reflecting back on the process rather than being in the process. And I want to know what that's going to feel like. And everything is just so temporary. Sickness is temporary. Like, it's just a couple hours out there feeling like shit. If you can't have the dominion over your being to move your physical self for 2 hours for something that you say that you're committed to or that's a priority because you have a boo-boo or because you just don't feel good or you got some sniffles or you're throwing up, it's like, cool. So what we're saying here is, yeah, that's a commitment and a priority as long as you feel good.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a standard then. A standard is a standard is a standard, and it doesn't matter the situation, the circumstance, how you feel. It's called a standard for a reason. And if you have moments where you deviate from the standard, is it even a standard? Or is it just a standard when you feel like living at the standard? So for me, it's those days are the most important days because those are the days that most likely will take out anybody else that's going to try to come take what's mine. And I know for a fact I'm not going to hold the world record forever. Like, it's somebody's going to come behind me, somebody's going to take it. It's more about meeting the version of me that is a world record holder that I'm curious about. What type of individual do I become through the journey? Like, that's an individual that I get to take with me for the rest of my life. The world record I might have for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? But I want to take the version of me that was capable of doing that with me forever.
Do you know who, like, took the, you know, who has the world record now and, like, who,
Yeah,
like,
I
is
know.
behind you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know anybody that's behind me. The
Okay.
Guinness doesn't tell you how many people actually have an application in for that
Oh,
actual
darn. Oh my
record.
god. Yeah, right.
It would be nice to know.
Yeah, to, like, follow him and stalk him on Instagram and not hope
Here's
they get sick or anything.
exactly here's the cool thing about it. When the record moved back to 602, I had a buddy call me and said, "Man, I'm sorry to hear that." And I said, "I'm not." I said, just let's think about this. All this stuff has happened for me. When I Googled the world record and it said 235, to me, that was achievable. I had a belief that I could do that.
Okay, yeah.
If I would have saw 555, I don't know if I would have submitted to that process and said, I'm willing to do it for 2 years. It was a less time than I had done the 10 miles a day. So I'm like, okay, I can do this again for one more year, and it's like, it's almost like God gave me a number that's like, hey man, it's doable. Just go ahead and start, and moved me
Watch
down the
this.
path
Yeah, yeah,
and got me going and got me
right,
committed. And there's like,
right.
boop, boop, boop. These guys are doing me a huge favor. And I had to take a step back from an emotional state of being down when I saw those numbers and elevate above it and say, how is this a good thing? I had to ask myself that question so that my brain would answer it. And it was like, well, they keep pushing the record back. So by the time you get it, it's that much harder for somebody else to get it. What if you would have just done it for a year and somebody came behind you 2 months later and took it? So
Yeah.
what they're doing is allowing me the opportunity, one, to continue to challenge myself, but two, pushing the record so far back that the likelihood that it gets broke very quickly is very minimal. So in reality, this is all happening for me in my favor.
It's
I
keeping
just
you in the
have to
game.
wear the right lens and say,
Mhm.
how is this good? One, the 235 got me started, and the continuing breaking is going to make it that much harder for anybody else behind me. Hopefully they
Yeah.
find a sick day or two that they
That's
push
what I
forward,
said. I was like, maybe you
you
don't wanna know
know?
who they are, yeah.
So,
Um,
but I
okay.
found the 2 people that broke it, and I sent them a message on
You
Instagram, and I
did? Okay.
congratulated them, on that, accomplishment, told them I know everything that they went through in order to get it, and I have nothing but respect for their accomplishments. But
And I'm coming for you.
yes, but I'm on day X right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
so
yeah, right.
enjoy
So
it
good
while
luck.
it lasts. I
Exactly.
pretty much gave them their flowers and said, "Here's your flowers. They smell good for now, but they're gonna die. They're gonna die soon." You
That's
know what I
hilarious.
mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I did
Wow.
that with both of them. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I
Did
wanted
they get
to
back to you?
yeah. Yeah, they were nice. They were nice and cordial about it
Okay,
and,
yeah.
all that, and so it was good. I found their name obviously on Guinness and looked them up on Strava and Instagram and was like, "Okay, respect," but, like, it's kinda like there's only a certain amount of people in the world that understand what we're going through in order to try to do that with the witnesses and the cameras and the every single day and the sicknesses. It's like, yeah, they're my competition, but at the exact same time, we know each other way better than anybody else because we've gone through some of the exact same things and had to overcome some of the exact same challenges. And so it's like, yeah, they're a kindred spirit. And I want to and I want to show them the respect that they deserve because it is a brutal process. And there's a lot of days where you just don't feel like doing it that they had to force themselves to do it. And so for me, it's just like, man, another human being out there exists that's willing to go through that as well. Like, let me take my hat off to you, but at
Yeah,
the exact same time, there's another you out there that wants to break the world record, and his name is Trevor.
yeah,
And nice to meet you.
yeah. It's
So
like it's a connection.
yeah,
What what are you afraid of?
being a hypocrite.
Okay.
Being a hypocrite, like even on my Real Business Owners podcast, because I was making money, I was giving myself credit for really doing work and talking about discipline and exercise and, self improvement and the whole process that you have to go through as an individual to make yourself the best person you can. So that when you're fighting the fight of business, that the best version of you's on the front line, you know, um, all of that. And then it kind of got to the point as I was making money. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I exercise, I'm in decent shape, but I'm sitting there preaching, telling people to like push themselves and challenge themselves. And it's like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm giving myself credit for doing something that was hard to the old version of me, but I'm not continuing to turn up the dial and make it a challenge now. And so how many times does somebody not exercise and then they start exercising 3 to 5 days a week and then they keep that same routine forever because that routine is greater than the routine that the old version of them had, but it's kind of like, okay, you've now done that for so long, now what? Like switch something up, throw yourself a curveball, sign up for a big challenge, do something just a little bit different. And so for me, it's like my integrity means absolutely
Mhm.
everything to and if I'm out there preaching to people to challenge themselves, to be disciplined, and I'm like, that's all easy to say on podcasts and on mics. Everybody's a talking head right now on social media saying consistency and discipline and this, that, the other. And it's like I'm now just kind of getting lumped into that same group of people that are just talking about it. And I'm like, I want to be about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make this who I am and as a part of my lifestyle. Like, I do have a big fear of not becoming based upon the fact that there was a discomfort that I was unwilling to go through and not meeting that version of myself that could impact more people, that could inspire other people to live a better life, that feels good in his body and mind. Like, I just look around at society right now and it's just not good.
Yeah.
Everybody's depressed.
Oh
People are
god, I
on
know, it's so
yeah,
sad.
it's walking zombies right now and
Oh,
everybody using social media to get under and dopamine hits. And then when like they're not on, they feel at a low place. So then they go back to social media to get the hit. And it's kind of this, and everybody's walking aimlessly through life with really no goals and they're really not pushing themselves. And it's like, now that I have the experiences that I have in terms of being poor and having money, being a drug addict and being clean, not being a runner, being a runner, like all of these things is like, I feel like I have all the experiences to say, I've lived the life that you're living right now. I've been in
oh
debt,
yeah.
been
Mhm.
broke, I've been on drugs, and I've done this too. And this path, I promise you, is way better. You are dealing with a suffering that's self-inflicted when you live like that, and it causes your life to become more negative and spiral. So by default, if you can cause by your actions your life to get worse, that also means that you could create the actions that make your life better. And so it's like I don't I just feel like money's like the whole running and world record and all this stuff, it was finally like, let's do something that doesn't involve money. I was so sick of my life having everything to be measured. Did I get a return? What about Trevor? What
Right.
about his happiness? What about his
Mhm.
peace? What about his joy? What about his fulfillment? Like, and so like, this is for me,
Mhm.
where I'm not making money by doing it. I don't have sponsors. I don't, nothing's probably going to come from it, but I will have a deep knowing of the suffering that I was willing to go through. And then anything else in life that wants to, try to knock on my door that would create a level of discomfort, I don't shy away from it. I like to just, I'm a whole different person. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on business masterminds and on self-improvement
Right.
since 2018. There was
Mhm.
one that 6 grand a month. That's 72 grand a year. Another one that I joined that was 50 grand for the year. Another one I've joined was $3,500 a month that I was in for like 2 years. And so it's like I've always been big on self-improvement, but originally it was for gaining financially. Now I'm big into self-improvement to gain mentally and emotionally. Like, I believe that there's obviously a bank account that holds money, but then there's a bank account, like, for your soul. And I think more people are worried about depositing money in their physical bank account than they are making deposits into their soul. And I felt like I had money, but I felt soulless because everything was geared around a material or monetary thing. And it's like, is that all my life is? Is like every second has to be about money? Even a guy at the gym came to me and said, "Hey, just so that you know, I was talking to so and so." And he's like, "I don't understand why Trevor's doing this. Like, what about the time value of money? Like, he could be spending." And I said, "You know what? I said, that's such a low frequency thought that he is still measuring everything that he does based upon a dollar."
Yeah.
I said, I'm past that, brother. I said,
Yeah.
I have the dollars. Like, not everything needs to be about money. That's a low frequency thing. What about impacting other people? What about impacting your family? What about impacting yourself? What about just living a good quality life and just seeing what you're capable? Like, I'm curious because it's like I'm doing things that I was capable of doing all along, but I was just unwilling to go through the discomfort in order to extract this version of me. So, what
Right.
other things am I avoiding or not doing that can also help me extract a better version of me? And so it's like I'm on a big self improvement journey, but mainly I want to make my life feel like it matters. And I think that the main thing to make your life feel like it matters is how you show up in the world and how you impact other people.
Yeah.
If you only show up in the world for your own personal gain, that's very you're not going to find joy and happiness in that. And so it's like, take care of your money situation, but don't forget about you, in that process, and that's a
Yeah.
big
I
deal.
mean, the way I see it, from looking into the stuff that you're doing and even the stuff that you're saying now is you want to be an example for other people because there were people that were an example for you. So while it is about Trevor, it's also really important to you to inspire other people through your actions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's both like, originally it was about Trevor finally not doing anything, in regards to Trevor's financial gain. But then it gets to the point where it's like, dude, I feel so good in my body and mind right now. I'm operating at a high level. I want to share this with the world. If you had the cure for cancer right now, don't tell me you're not going to go on social media and be like, this is what you do. Like,
Hmm.
with all of the energy and all the might that you have because you found something that can help other people. So you're gonna put that out into the world. And so
Yeah.
it's like, no, I didn't find the cure for cancer, but maybe running will help. And for me, I was able to find the answer to that question. And so
Yeah.
originally, yeah, it was about me pushing myself and all this stuff, but then eventually it gets to the point where like, oh shit, like, you could utilize this in a manner in which makes your life even more meaningful because you might be the gateway drug to somebody else's running that changes their life. And so, like, if other people didn't post it, and like a lot of people are like, I've had friends I see that they unfollowed me because it's like, I was Trevor business guy,
Uh-huh.
and then now I'm runner and now I'm
Yeah.
switching it up and they're annoyed by it and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, some of that stuff makes you really question yourself, but then you have to ask yourself, like, are you doing it for the right reasons? Like, all I want to do is just put good out into the world because I believe what you put out, you get back. And it's just like, I want my life to matter, and I think that your life matters when you have the ability to affect other people in a positive way just through the sheer example of how you live. Like Michael Jordan didn't plan on inspiring millions of kids to dribble their basketball in their garage or right in their driveway, 3, 2, 1. But he did because he extracted the best version of himself. You will burn so bright when you honor your greatness that other people will have no choice but to come close to it for warmth, and they'll be like, "Man, that's
Yeah.
really cool. I wanna try that too." You
Yeah.
know?
You're inspiring somebody you don't even know is looking. So I think that's awesome. What would um what would 19-year-old Trevor think of Trevor now?
Um, it would be unbelievable. It would be there's no possible way. I mean, at that point, I was, a heroin addict.
Mhm.
I was a junkie, like, you're gonna walk up to a junkie, "Hey, man, you're gonna make millions of dollars, and you're gonna become a runner and try to break world records," and it's just like, "Yeah, right." Do you have any drugs?" "I'll listen to you if you got some money or drugs or whatever," and so it's just it's such a crazy thing how just your everyday choices compound for better or worse, and I just I never let's put it this way, like, I am very, I listen to my intuition a lot now, I'm really tapped into self, and, I
Yeah,
think
you're really
running
self-aware.
yeah, yeah, I mean, I
You
spend a lot of time alone, I don't listen to music, I don't listen to podcasts when I run or anything like that. I run for hours
really? Okay.
with no external stimulation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't I early on, I needed it because I didn't even wanna do it, and so it's like, "This sucks. Let's put
Let's
some hype music in and
yeah,
try to get through it and and when that song comes on, sweet, a little more energy or whatever." I'm
right.
still relying on something external in order to perform, and that's okay at first, because we need whatever we possibly can to get through what we're trying to get through, but again, every step, it gets to a point where I have to ask myself, "What else can I do to turn it up just a little bit and make
Right.
the experience just a little bit more raw, a
Do
little
you
bit more."
listen to Andrew Huberman?
No. I mean,
Oh,
I see his clips and stuff on social media. To be quite frank, I haven't really listened to a whole lot of podcasts in the last couple years. I stopped, reading books over the last couple years.
huh.
I got so sick of absorbing information from other people
Oh,
that
I
I
get
felt
that.
like
Yeah.
I wanted to tap into Trevor and Trevor's
Yes.
intuition, and
Yeah.
I wanted to get my information or my thoughts from a higher power, not from another person. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
get
just
that.
it's a lot just all the time. There's social media, podcasts, books, and I did it all, with the 3 years. I mean, it was podcasts, it was books, it was I was doing all the self-improvement stuff for many, many years, but it was like, what about connecting with you? I think if you connect with yourself, you will have better ideas of what you should be doing with your life and listening to that intuition, following your heart. I think that you'll be able to, find more joy and fulfillment just being alone with yourself. Like a long time ago, I when I was by myself, I was lonely.
Mhm.
Like I felt alone, and now I crave that solitude. I just think I just think that I didn't know the person I was spending time with when I felt lonely because I never
Yeah.
really had done it because it was always input, input, input. And it was like the running gave me the opportunity to be alone with myself for hours at a time. And that's when I feel most connected to my higher power is when I'm in nature and I'm running and my
Mhm.
body's operating at peak performance just as he designed it to do. And
Yeah.
so it started to become more of like a spiritual experience for me, and I believe that the download did come from God or a higher power, whatever you wanna call it. And for me, I was like, "Okay, why was I given that download and that thought?" Like, and people were like, "Well, why are you doing this?" "Yeah, I wanna inspire people," all that good stuff, but, like, this is the first time that I don't fully understand why, but I'm operating in faith. Most people have to
Mm.
have certainty prior to committing or making a decision, right? They have to understand all the pieces and how it looks and who's going to be their witnesses every day. I will deal with it that day, like I don't need to have it all figured out, but I'm just at a point where I'm kind of just again surrendering, operating in faith that I was given a thought or a download for a reason. Maybe there's somebody that I'm going to meet that I have the ability to impact. Maybe I'll meet somebody that impacts me and changes me in a way where I can help more people or whatever it is. Like I'm just completely open right now to receive or give or do whatever I'm supposed to be doing while I'm doing this, which is something that I don't fully understand yet or comprehend. I'm just operating in faith and an uncertainty that if I do this, good things will happen. And so it makes it a little bit easier when you feel like what you're doing is bigger than yourself,
Yeah.
that something else gave you that and your curiosity said, bet, let's see what's on the other side of it. I'll go
Yeah.
through something for 2 years, not fully understanding, but just to be able to find out, what who I become, who I help, who I affect, or who I meet, or whatever. Something beautiful will happen because of it. I don't know what it is. I just believe that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I totally get the disconnecting from like podcasts and social media and stuff. It could be overwhelming out there. Just so that you know, I brought Andrew Huberman in for a reason. He does talk about you should give yourself time to do things without like music or podcasts or like whether it's working out or taking the pre-workout or whatever, just to like mix it up and not always need to rely on those things to get things done. And
Mhm.
that's why I was asking if that's why you did it. But
Well, I
I
love him. I love
yeah,
Huberman. There's nothing wrong, like I haven't listened to Joe Rogan's podcast or Huberman's or whatever. I get what I can get in the
yeah,
little snippets from social media here and
right.
there, but it's just, right now I'm just in my own world type phase. Like I don't listen to my podcasts, none of that. I record them, I am a big believer that if you're trying to find your way and you don't know self well,
Mhm,
you should be in books. You
mhm.
should be listening to podcasts. You should be because you don't have full control of your brain. What are you watering the seeds of your mind with? Make sure that it is positive. I think I hypnotized myself to become the person that I am because I it was constant positive and self-improvement and this. And it just took 3 or 4 years for it to finally take root and sprout. And so
Yeah,
every one of those books and podcast, it was like water, water,
but
water,
you have to be
water. It
so
took a minute.
careful and intentional about what you're listening to, right? Something I've said before is don't say, "Who am I?" Say, "This is who I am." So basically, you decide first who you wanna be, and then you consume the information that kinda gets you to that place. Otherwise, you're just hit with
I
everything.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Somebody said, "Hey, I want to be a better leader in my business mastermind." I said, "You know what I would do if I were you? Everything that I would consume for the next 6 months would all be about leadership.
Mhm.
Everything that I consume. If that's the priority and you lack in that department, you should create an environment that gives you what you say that you want. It's gonna take discipline, it's gonna be boring, it's gonna be mundane. You're gonna wanna turn on some music every so and switch it up, but I'm like, when I say that I want something, there's no ends that I'm not willing to go through, and I create the environment in which I put myself in, and I let the environment then just do the
Yep.
molding,
Yeah,
you know?
that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Do you ever overcommit?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wrote about breaking a world record in my book before I even started breaking the world record. It was released, like, in mid-March, and I started on March, like,
So you are
23rd.
currently in over your head.
Yeah, I mean, there were days that I didn't want I'm being for real, there were days that I prayed for an injury. Because every step was so painful, but at least an injury would give me a relief. There would be relief on the other side of it. I wouldn't have to continue to go through the pain day in and day out, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And so it's like, it's here's also something. I remember laying in bed and I would wake up and my legs would just be broke off. And I'm just like, ah, I can't wait for the day that when I wake up that I'm not sore and my body's fully adapted to it. What ended up happening was, yeah, my body's adapted to it. It's a little bit easier. I'm still stiff and sore every day that I wake up. The difference is my brain now expects to wake up sore.
yeah.
So it's now normal. So I no
Okay.
longer wish to wake up not sore. It happens so many times that the brain's like, "Oh, this is just normal now. So let's not wish for something else than what it is and just accept it." Like running does so many things in terms of like self-awareness and like when I said I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, the point that I was trying to make on business masterminds, since I've started running, that has been the best in self-improvement journey that I've ever taken, and I haven't had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. One, you have to face the lower version of yourself every time before you go out.
Right.
So the higher
I
self,
don't wanna go.
yeah, nobody does. Nobody cartwheels out of bed and says, "Let's go." It's like,
Not one person.
no, not one. So there's this
Right, right.
battle every day, this confrontation between a
Yeah,
lower self and a higher self. And I think it's important to get those reps where the higher self wins, and you do the thing that you said that you committed to. And so there's all these little micro battles with you. And you are responsible for how your life ends up. Like, don't you want to be the best version of yourself, which ultimately would require you to be better than the lower version of yourself? And so it's like running has literally changed my life, changed my perspective, changed the way I see things. I look for the positive in things rather than the negatives because you're going to be in pain out there. And if you just focus on the pain, you're probably not going to survive. You got to kind of lift your head up and think about positive things
yeah,
in order to be able to survive how brutal it can be some days. And so then out in the real world, it's like your brain's like looking for positive things. And so it's just like, I've spent tons of money on self-improvement, sitting in classrooms, listening to podcasts, read all the books. When I've spent time with myself, pounding my feet against the pavement, I have learned more about me and what I'm capable of. I have grown my confidence and my self-respect way greater than any other investment that I've made into self-improvement.
Do you have any, like, tricks for getting out of bed? Like, do you, like, lay your clothes out the night before, or do you do anything to make it easier?
No, no, I don't even wanna think about running. Right before I go to bed, it's like, I don't wanna go. I
Don't
already
even
got
wanna
it done
think
for
about
today.
it.
I got it done for today. I'm done. Like
It's over.
like
Done.
yeah. So I don't wanna pack my bag and start thinking about what I have to do tomorrow morning right before I'm about to relax and try to go to bed. It's not
How is
happening.
running the worst and the
Like,
best at the same time?
I know that because it's so brutal that it'll force you or mold you to become better in order to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's how brutal it is. So in order to survive, you have
That's
to get
hilarious.
better at the way you think, right?
That's so funny.
Um, and
Wait,
so no, I don't do that.
okay.
But like I said earlier, like if you want to really accomplish extreme things and you know, do things that very, very few people do, you have to play extreme games with your mind. So on
Yeah,
the days this is the process that I go through on days that I just don't want to do it. And my mind's really turning on me. My body's fatigued mentally. I could have a headache. I could be sick. I could this. I say, will it suck? The answer is always yes. Is it going to be hard? The answer is yes. I ask myself one last question. Is it possible though?
Mm,
Is it possible? I know it'll suck and it'll be hard, but if your life depended on it right now, could you? And if it's possible and you actually answer that question with integrity and honesty, yes, it's possible.
yeah.
And I get my shit out of bed and I go fucking lace up and go do it again because it's possible. Why are we so focused on it being hard or that it's going to suck? Like, isn't that why we do it at the
Yeah,
same time,
right. I
right?
know. It's
Like,
crazy.
it's supposed to be hard, it's supposed to suck so that we can experience friction with self, and then we can overcome that friction and become better, right? Like, we're complaining about the very thing that has the ability to make us better, you know? And so, like, I have to play extreme games. Like, I had a business partner that had to do dialysis for 2 hours every other day. And I'm
Mm.
like, that is a life and death thing. He has no choice but to go sit in a chair for 2 or 3 hours so that they can filter his blood before he gets his transplant. And I'm like, if a doctor said, "Look, Trevor, you've got X disease. The only way to not die from it is that you have to run a half marathon every day. That's your prescription." Would I get out of bed kicking and screaming and complaining, or would I be joyous when I get out of bed and get to run a half marathon in exchange for my life? I would have no problem running for 2 hours a day to keep the other 22 hours. I take myself to life and death, extreme type
Hmm.
situations in order to show myself like, "Look, bro, you're just being a little bitch because it's gonna be harder, it's gonna be tough today. Like, it's still possible. If this was the situation, this wouldn't stop you." And here's the cool thing about it. My son 2 weeks ago says, "Dad, let's go ride bikes." I look at the weather and I'm like, "Bro, hell no." I'm like, "Look, bro, there's 30-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, dude. Think of something else. Let's do something else. I'm not riding bikes today." I started walking away and it hit me. It was like, well, if you looked at the weather and it was 30-mile-an-hour winds and you had to run your half marathon, that wouldn't stop you. Why are you now utilizing something external or circumstance or situation that you don't have control of now dictate you whether you're doing something or not doing something? If you say being able to hang out with your son is a priority, why are you allowing 30-mile-an-hour winds to stop you? Because he still wants to go out and do it. He don't give a shit because he's 10. If anything, that's more fun for him, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
I turned around and I said, "Bro, let's go ride bikes. Let's go." I said, "I'm telling you right now, though, if it gets pretty shitty out there and I'm getting a bunch of sand blasted in my face, I'm gonna put the bikes in the back of the truck and we're dipping out. We're not gonna do it." And he said, "Okay." And we went out there and it really wasn't bad. It really wasn't that bad. It was a little windy, but it's like the world record is there is no excuse, no weather, no emotion, no feeling, sickness. And then I'm married to this fucking game in sickness and in health till death do me part. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
I have to operate in sickness and in health no matter what, because that's just what it is for me. Now, again, that might be just a side of me playing extreme games with myself or whatever. You want an extreme result? That means your brain is going to play extreme games against you getting that result. So, therefore, you've got to be there one step above that extreme and say, life and death, could you still do it? And if the answer is yes, you got to go do it. If my daughter was 13 miles away and my legs were broke off and she needed my help, I promise you, I won't care about how my legs feel. So, what matters is the level of priority that you place on the actual task in which you're doing. The reason why people fall off is because it's not as big of a priority as they say it is to them. Your priorities, no matter what, if it's your children, if it's life and death, you will move mountains.
Yeah.
But if it's a commitment that you made to yourself, you're okay buying an excuse that your brain sells you? I don't play that no more.
Do you ever like think you're too hard on yourself?
Uh, yeah, probably. Um, but at the exact same time, nobody's gonna come out of the woodworks and be hard on you to extract the best version of you.
Hmm.
Like who else is supposed to be hard on you for you to honor your greatness? Live out your potential. Who else is going to hold you to that level of accountability to be able to extract that version of you? Nobody's going to come along and do that. And I believe that this is a season of my life, and I'm going to be extremely hard on myself during that season. And I don't know if I'm going to be running at 60. I could be in a wheelchair. I could be in a car accident. Like I don't want to have capabilities that I'm unusing and then have those capabilities taken from me and then have regret. I've torn my meniscus prior to even being a runner. The funny thing is, never running in crutches with a torn. I thought about running. It's like because it was taken away from me, now all of a sudden I wanted to run because I couldn't because I was in crutches.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like nobody's taking care of their health until they go to the doctor's office and then they get, "Hey, if you don't change in the next 6 months, you're probably gonna die." Oh, now take it seriously, right? It's like when something's about to be taken from you, now you'll take it. Like my knee was running was taken from me, even though I wasn't a runner at the time. But it's like we want what we can't have. And it's like I can't run, so I want to run. And so it's like I utilize all these little micro experiences throughout my life and be like, I was great on a BMX bike. I was doing backflips on a snowboard the first year that I touched a snowboard. I won the state championship at 13 in baseball for Utah Little League. I was good at a lot of things, but I look back on it and I was like, I was just goofing off, having fun. I never took anything serious as a kid. What if I would have really applied myself at any one of those things?
Hmm.
W- Where would I be? What would that have looked like? I go to present and I'm like, okay, that was all 25, 30 years ago. And you're wondering what if. Okay. So by default, so that this doesn't continue, the pattern can stop, make sure that at this point forward, that not another 20 years passes and you ask yourself that same question. What if I would have applied myself at 40, 41?
Yeah.
Like I already have what ifs from the time I'm 13 years old to the time I was, 19 years old prior to
Hmm.
then getting hooked on drugs. Like what could I have done if I applied myself? And I don't like not having the answer to that question.
Hmm.
So by default, I need to make sure that I never have to ask that question from myself ever again by
Yeah.
fully applying myself to whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's in the office at work or whether it's running. Like, I don't want to play small. If it's worth my time, it's worth giving 100%, period.
So do you think curiosity is what drives you, like about who you can become?
Very much so, because again, this version of me, I could have found at 28. I didn't have to wait till 41.
Mm.
But again, there was just the unwillingness factor of doing something hard that's gonna suck, that requires me to go through discomfort that I was just unwilling to go through. So I could have potentially left this version of me on the table through my whole life and not ever known that I was capable of becoming a world record holder or being able to run a half marathon. Like, could you imagine? Like, this version of me I can't imagine that. And
That's
so
kind
then
of terrifying, isn't it?
it is kinda terrifying. So it's like, if that was in me the whole time
Hmm.
and it was the work that extracted this person, by default, I always just have to do the work.
Yeah.
And my life is I feel more at peace. Like, you say, "Are you too hard on yourself?" I'm like, "I don't know, maybe." But it's like I'm like, "I feel better than I've ever felt."
Right.
Was that me being hard on me? Like, I don't know if it's being hard on myself or taking care of myself. Like some people say when they at the gym, people are like, "Man, that's crazy. What you're doing is crazy." And I said, "Well, either I'm crazy or everybody else is. It's one of the two. Maybe everybody else is the crazy one and I'm the only one that's actually thinking clearly. Maybe."
Do you like
You
when people say you're crazy?
Somebody said it today to me and they
Hmm.
said, "Man, you're crazy." And I said, "Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you."
Yeah.
You know?
It means you're
And if
doing
you're not
something different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like, if the average person doesn't call you crazy, by default, that means you to them, you blend in. You're one of them.
Right.
You
Who
don't
wants to
stand
blend
out,
in?
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's like, if an average person calls me crazy, that is more of a inclination that I'm doing something right than something wrong,
Right.
and so it's, uh it's been a crazy, 4.5 years, but, I wouldn't change it for anything, I wouldn't change even how brutal the process was. It's incredible to live through the adaptation process and feel the pain and literally watch your body slowly overcome that. You get so in tune with everything, like, even when I eat, I can feel a lower vibration, so I don't even eat usually my first meal till 5 or
Yeah, that's
5:30
so
in the
wild.
evening. Well, when I eat, I feel like my energy gets bogged down because it's trying to digest the food because
Right?
I'm so in tune
And
with
then you're
each
not doing
meal,
everything you could be doing.
and I'm feeling lethargic at the office or and I'm like, I don't like feeling lethargic, and the old me loved to feel full. I would stuff 2
Right.
plates, give me more. Oh, ice cream, cool. I just wanna be like that, there's a reason why I was 200 pounds at 5'7", and now I'm 155 to 160, right? And so it's like, I I like feeling more focused and alert, and so I do have a protein smoothie after at 10:30 is so I'm not saying I don't touch anything. So at 10:30 after my lift and after my run, I have
Mhm.
a protein smoothie with 70 grams of protein and 700 calories in it.
Wow, you're gonna have to give
So,
me that recipe. 70
uh,
grams of protein? Jeez.
it's an XL. I actually buy it from the gym that I go to.
Oh,
So
okay.
somebody else
That's
asked me for the
wild.
recipe. I'm like, I don't know, strawberries,
70 grams of
blueberries,
protein.
raspberries. I'm like, I don't know.
Raspberries.
Um, it's called the Peanut Butter Triple Berry Express or
Oh,
something like that,
that's I
so
love peanut butter
they
is
got the
probably my
peanut butter,
favorite
yeah,
food on earth.
and so I slurp that in as I head into the office, and by the time I get to the office, there's so much stuff to do that keeps me busy that I'm not focused on the way that I feel or my stomach growling at me some days. For the most part, I'm now just pretty used to it, and then when I go home and eat at 5:30, that's like my first meal, then I'll have another meal right around 7:30 or 8 as well, so
Mhm.
I still have a couple meals within inside of that evening time, but, like, I'm at home. I'm okay if I feel lethargic
Yeah.
at 6 or 7. I can bum it on the couch and finally relax. I don't like the feeling of feeling lethargic when I have things that I need to be focused on and doing. I wanna be awake, I wanna be alert, attentive, all of those things, and if I eat, I feel it,
I'm so glad to hear you say that you relax though at some point. So like what do you do to relax? Do you
Yeah,
have a show
I
or something you guys watch? What do you
I
do to
don't do
relax?
I don't do any of that, you know? No, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Breaking Bad or
You're really taking it back. It's been a while
like,
for you.
I don't even know what shows are current right now. That's
Those
the
are not
thing, is like,
current.
I'm going to what was relevant back in the day. I'm like, the only show I've ever really watched was Yellowstone, and
Oh, that's a good one.
that was like 3 or 4 years ago when it first started coming out, and at night, my wife was like, "Let's watch shows," or whatever. I'm like, "Cool, put it on," and I actually got into it just a little bit, but outside of that, it's just if I it so, like, last night, for instance, let's talk
Okay.
about last
Let's
night, okay?
do last night.
So,
Okay.
last night, when I got home or whatever, like, at least 2 days a week, I'll put my legs in the cold plunge or whatever, but that's only like 3 or 4 minutes. It kinda also helps me wake up a little bit because by the end of the day, I'm so tired that it's like, "Let's get alert," let's get it
That does
let's
not count as relaxing.
uh,
Cold plunges does
feels
not
so
count as
good after you
relaxing.
sit on the couch though, and it's just a little frigid and you're curled up in a blanket. But
Okay.
so my daughter's sitting there or whatever, and I'm going to Netflix. I just go straight documentaries, and
Ooh,
I
okay.
can watch documentary the same one. I can watch it over. And, like, is it 13 Peaks? It's either 13 or 14 Peaks. I've watched that about the guy breaking the world record of climbing the 13
Oh,
highest peaks in the world.
mhm.
I've watched that over and over and over. There's a Michael
Okay.
Jordan documentary called The Last Dance. I've watched that over and over and over. There's, like, the free solo guys that everybody
Yeah,
else thinks is crazy. I watched that over and over and over because I feel like I'm watching people that understand, that
yeah,
like I feel I want to watch regular human beings become great. And I just get so caught up in documentaries of people inspiring, doing incredible things, and they're willing to sacrifice more than most to get what they say that they want. And to me, that I'm a documentary guy, and usually it's in regards to massive or big accomplishments, and I'll watch those not on repeat over and over, but like a week or 2 later, I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna watch I believe that you can be brainwashed, and I believe that it's up to us to brainwash ourselves into becoming the type of person that we wanna become. There was a certain, little playlist thing that was like Joe Rogan, David Goggins, you know how they like do mashups of motivational things or
Mhm.
whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Joe Dispenza, and, all these people or whatever are on it. And it was like 25 minutes. Because I wanted to brainwash myself, I would just put that on repeat, and I
Hmm.
listened to it
Mhm.
over and over and over and over. I read the book called The Brain by David Eagleman, then Livewired. He's a neuroscientist, and I'm like, "Okay, we're stuck with this thing forever. We better understand how it functions and how it works so that we can take the controls back."
Right.
So I read that book over and over and over and over and studied the brain, and it's really comes down to the environment in which the brain's put in, it becomes. And so I was like, cool. If I listen to this on repeat over and over and over, if that's all my mind is absorbing, by default, that's how I'm going to eventually think. And I want to think like that. Because if I think like that, then I can become greater. And so it's like I play a lot of games with my mind based upon me reading those books, by David Eagleman, because it's like, I feel like, 1, understand the game, understand the rules of the game and how it functions, then master the game.
Let's say you did have a hobby that wasn't self-improvement and it just like fishing or hunting or something, like, what would it be?
No, I don't hunt. I'm not a hunt. I have a bow. I go shoot. I got some property up by Zion's National Park is where I live. And so I saw Cameron Haynes who was shooting a bow. I'm like, I don't really like killing little animals or creatures.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I get raccoons in my traps, and I'm like, "Ah, man, I'm sorry. You're killing
Oh,
my chickens." I don't really, I'm
no.
not too big on it. Maybe I'm just not manly yet or whatever. But um, I do like throwing the baseball with my son out in my orchard. I like throwing the football to him. I like skimboarding with him. We have a
Oh,
river right on the edge of our property. Sometimes we'll go tubing, down the river,
there you
um,
go.
riding mountain bikes. He already said yesterday, "Dad, on Sunday, could we either go fishing or ride mountain bikes when you're done with your run?" I'm like, we'll pick something. We'll figure something out." So it's like, for me, and even my son, like, I brought him out every year since the 37-mile run. I've ran 38 miles. On my 39th birthday, I ran 40 because it was just right there instead of
Why
stopping at
not?
41.
Right.
On 40, I ran 50. Last year, I just ran 41 because I was in the middle of doing the half marathons each day and I didn't want to blow my legs out. But my son saw that. My son asked if he could come out with me on my 38th birthday. And I said, "You could
Hmm.
sleep in the back of the in the RV." And he's like, "Okay, cool." And I said, "You can probably get out and run the last couple miles with me because it's gonna be really slow." And so that's exactly
Oh,
what happened. He got
sweet.
out and the sun came up and he ran 3 or 4 miles, and this is when he was 6, and he says, "Dad,
When he
I
was
wanna run."
6?
Yeah. He goes, "Dad,
Wow.
I wanna run 7 miles for my 7th birthday." And this is
Oh.
July,
Mm.
so his birthday's in October. I said, "We could do that, bud."
Aw.
I said, "Let's do that." He's ran 7 miles on his 7th,
No
8th on his
way.
8th, 9th on
Oh,
his 9th, 10 on his 10th, and this year's 11th. He
I
even
love
asked me this
really.
weekend, if we go fishing or if we go mountain biking, "Can I run a couple miles with you?" before that. Like, so I'm gonna have to cycle back to the house at like mile, 11 or 11 and a half, grab him and have him come do the other mile. Cause it's starting
Oh.
to kind of get to the point where we need to touch some miles so that he's ready for his 11 in October. And so I like spending time with him. I like influencing him. Like, I believe I'm supposed to do something great with my life, but then I go above that thought and say, well, what if the greatness that I'm supposed to perform with the life that I've been giving is, maybe I'm just supposed to be an example to my son where he's in
Mm.
close proximity to me and he ends up being the person that does something great with his life. I was just the starter for
Mhm.
him to then take it and run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think about stuff like that, like, maybe it's not me, but maybe
Mhm.
by default it is me because I do affect him and he does something special, and that's part of my ripple effect. Like, I don't know, but I don't want to not know 10, 20, 30 years down the road. But if it's sports or something, if then
Yeah.
yeah, let's go have some fun together. It's more quality time with him, more so than anything.
And you have, 3 kids? Is that
Yeah.
how old are your kids?
My daughter's 16, she ran so when my
Mm.
son said he wants to run 7 miles for his 7th birthday, she was turning 13. She said, "Dad, I wanna run 13." And I said, "You sure?" She says, "Yeah." I didn't ask either one of them to do this. They
Yeah,
just are
right. Well, it's
living
your
in this
example.
environment,
Yeah.
you know? And so her birthday is, November 12th, but there was a Snow Canyon half marathon here. It was, like, November 20th. I said, "Let's sign up for that and just run that 13.1 together."
Nice.
And so she did that, but then after that, she's got too cool. At 14, a 14-year-old girl don't wanna hang out with dad no
Who
more.
knows what 14-year-old
It's
girls
fair and
want.
yells, but,
Yeah, I have no
whatever.
idea.
Boys, all that. So she hasn't continued the tradition. My son has, and so, but then my son's 10, and then I have another daughter that's 5 that's about to turn 6.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. Well, what you do is incredible.
thank you.
I have some comments I wrote down that I took from your Instagram of things that people have said about you. The realest dude going with a massive heart. You're writing a blueprint daily for people to follow who wanna be better. And I guess this is probably from your sister, cute brother, tough exterior, soft heart.
Yeah, Lonnie. Yeah.
Yeah,
She always
so
gave me the most shit growing up. So, um
yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
But,
I honestly think people that are usually really tough on themselves are actually some of the most kind, genuine people when you get past
absolutely.
that. I think that there's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma and stuff over life that you put on your armor out there, but like when people get inside and past the armor, it's like those people are like gold, and I feel like it's somewhat of that to me. It's like I'm just done with human beings in general for the most part because they're just drama. We're dramatic creatures. We create problems that don't exist just because we're more comfortable in the state of chaos and problems, and we want to complain and bitch. And so it's like I had to go through this isolation period to like really figure myself out and, as I enter back into society, so to speak, and hang out with people, it's like there's just certain things that just don't really vibe with me that much anymore. And for me, it's like I don't want to be around large groups of people, all of that. I do want to live a life that is an example for those that are lost, that maybe that could be the lighthouse for them, like Goggins or Cameron Haynes or many other runners that I followed on social media before I decided to run. It's like I want to keep that ripple effect going. I'm a part of theirs, and I want to honor that and be able to give what they gave to me to somebody else. And so that's really what it's all about, and just the deep knowing that you're doing everything that you can to become the best. And I think that there's a lot of peace that's found in that. But
Yeah.
uh yeah, tough exterior. I am a softie, like
Yeah.
there was just a gal on social media that followed me for years on Real Business Owners, and she would give me updates about her mom and her health situation when her mom passed away. Nobody's been told this, by the way. Not one human being on the planet. There's only two people that know that this happened, and it's me and one of my business partners, Coulter, because she started following him and supporting him as well, and we sent her $3,500.
Wow.
It's like just I don't know. I can see people hurt, and I don't like people hurting because I've been there,
Exactly.
and it's not
Yeah.
good. And so it's like if I can give hope, I wanna give hope. If I can help, I'm not gonna just go send $3,500 just to anybody and everybody. We developed a relationship over 3 or 4 years, but we never met in person. She just
Yeah.
supported me from, like, day 1 on Instagram. I'm like, I can't let her, like, go through this alone and feel like that she has no support or people that love her or care about her even though we've never met.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
so it's just I don't know, there's certain things like that that call, the intuition, the tug at my heart. So, like, there is a heart underneath all of it. I will take care of people probably more than I'll take care of myself, but,
I mean,
uh
your heart that shines through. Like, you're tough, but I think you can feel it, and not that, I
yeah,
didn't know you before, but I liked you before I met you. I followed what you did, and I look forward to
thank you.
following what you're doing, with running, and however you choose to take your social media going forward. Definitely look forward to that. If people want to follow you and your 13.1 mile record, where can they do that?
Just Trevor Lee Cowley, on Instagram,
Okay.
Cowley. So,
Awesome.
Ellie.
Well, I'll be cheering from Baltimore, so
Hey,
yeah.
whenever you're ready to make a visit out, it sounds like you got a lot of new friends out in Utah. So whenever
Uh,
you're ready, hey, Zion's National Park is pretty, and I'm telling you, I could take you up some mountains where the sunrises are just absolutely incredible. That
that
makes it a
sounds
little bit
amazing.
easier to get out of bed at 5 in the morning, with watching some of the sunrises over that national park. But you're
Yeah,
always welcome to Utah. I would love to get a run in with you if you're ever out this way.
amazing. Thank you so much, Trevor. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks to Trevor for sharing his story with us, and thank you for tuning in to the show. If I could ask a small favor, would you please take a moment to rate and review this show wherever you stream content? It helps us reach more people who need our community. Until next time, keep running, keep inspiring, and keep sharing how maybe running will help. Have a great run, everybody.
I press the button and the doors go up. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, 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 whoa. I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, vintage friends on my face. Looking like I'm from the deep. These no Cartiers. Pockets deep, 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 bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go up like. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Neighborhood on the scene, neighborhood on the strip. Neighborhood be the name, neighborhood no crib. Neighborhood that's me, neighborhood that's Nick. Neighborhood do the dance, neighborhood do the dip. Okay, thought I'd never make it like no way. I'm the real deal, no role play. My days off, that's no days. No, I hustle hard, young rose. E be the shooter, that's cold case. Those on the deals, that's brose. Got no pay, yo, no say. Okay, this the news, tell 'em read it. Been the one since a fetus. Don't sleep on me, Tempur-Pedic. That's a no, no, no. Spending dope for no reason. Got a ball head, Mr. Cleaner. Heard the big bags overseas, then we gon' go, go, go. Whoa,